Okay, so the two formulas that we've seen so far is if my function is in the form of mx plus b, which means the equation of a straight line. So that basically tells you that that's the equation of a straight line. Then I know how I'm going to be able to find my y dash formula. So for that, y dash is going to just be the gradient or the coefficient of x, which is y dash is equal to m. Okay, so an example of this is if I have a function in the form of y is equal to 3x plus 2. Straight away, because the power of x is 1, I know that that corresponds to the equation of a straight line, and therefore I say y dash is just going to be the coefficient of x, which is 3. This can be minus 10, x minus 5, or whatever. And then again, because the coefficient of x is 1, I know that this is a straight line, it's in this format, therefore y dash is just a coefficient of y. And you can see that y dash here is constant, meaning that the gradient is going to be constant no matter where you are, which we already know anyway, because the equation of a straight line, you know that the gradient doesn't change based on what point you're taking the gradient from. Okay, the other formula was if I have my y value is a constant, or my function is equal to a constant value, which means that we're going to be in the horizontal direction, so that's y is equal to k, we know that the slope is 0, and therefore y dash is going to be 0. So for this, an example would be if I have y is equal to 3, straight away I can see that this corresponds to a constant value of y. Basically what this means is no matter what value of x you choose, your value of y is going to still be the same, which you can see here. So whether I'm at minus 1, I'm at 1, I'm at 2, or anything like that, my value of y is still going to be constant. Let's say if this is the graph of y is equal to 3, it's going to be constant at y is equal to 3. Okay, so at these points we know that y dash is going to be 0. So me just seeing that there is no dependency on x, I know that the gradient function is going to be 0, which means that your slope is 0, and you know that already. Okay, so now what if we have a function in the form of x to the power of 3? So its coefficient is different here. So it's not a coefficient of 1 anymore, it's another coefficient. It can be 3, it can be 5, it can be 10, anything. So in that form, we have a formula that says if your function is x to the power of n, and n can take any form you want, then your gradient can be defined as you bring down the power and you reduce the power by 1. So what does that mean? So if I'm looking at the example of y is equal to x cubed, then if I'm going to apply this formula, I have to differentiate this, I have to just bring down the power and then reduce the power by 1. So 3 minus 1 is just 2. So that's 3x to the power 2. And 3 is being multiplied by x squared. Okay, so that can be for any function with any power. So if I have x to the power of 5, then y dash will be bring down the power and reduce the power by 1. Okay, so now what if I have something like y is equal to 4 x to the power of 3. You can see that this part is exactly the same as that. However, now we have a coefficient as well in front of x cubed. So in that case, it's basically similar. So y dash will be, now you leave your constant coefficient there, and you just multiply it by this power. So you bring down the power, and then you reduce the power by 1. So 3 minus 1. Which will become 4 times 3 is 12, x to 2. So the general formula for a function which has a power and has a coefficient is in this form. So if I have y is equal to k, x to the power of n, if I want to differentiate that, I multiply my coefficient by my power, so I bring down the power, and then you just reduce the power by 1. So this is your general formula. Now, if I want to do another example, it would be if I have y is equal to 3x to 8, I know that y dash is going to, again, leave the coefficient there, bring down the power and multiply it by that coefficient, and then reduce the power by 1. So it becomes 8 minus 1, which is 7. Okay, and that's basically what you do. Now, to just to simplify that, all you need to do is you just need to multiply these two by each other, so that's 24x to the 7. So that's your solution.